Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Métis Warrior. You're here with Timothy and Alexandria.
Hello everybody.
So we have one hell of a show for you today where we're going to show you actual documents from INAC actually hired BDO to do a report on the Manitoba Metis Federation and some of the cards they're issuing out to people and some of the problems that they think may be there. So that report is very, very interesting. So you're going to want to read the report. You're going to want to listen to the show. And again, it's very eye-opening, the stuff that's in this report. And it addresses a lot of issues within the MMF. Now, we know that the MMF has run around and accused other organizations of allowing non-Metis into their organizations. Well, hell, when you look at this INAC report that was done by BDO, it's like, wow, really? And so it seems like there's some issues there within the Manitoba Metis Federation, right? So before we get started in today's show, we're going to talk about the Métis Nation of British Columbia and the election that's coming up. I personally would like to send a shout out to Lisa Smith because I think she's doing a great job out there. And why change things when you have stuff running so perfectly in British Columbia right now? I mean, things have actually become transparent, which is something that we was lacking before, was the transparency, and they're actually cleaning the house out there in British Columbia, which is great. And so yeah, I personally would hope that Lisa Smith continues to be able to do her job out there after the election for sure.
And again, the Métis Nation of BC by-election is December 15th 2021, and progress does take time. There's a lot of people that are impatient. They expect things to happen overnight. I mean, that's just not a reality. That's not logical. Progress does take time when you've inherited a mess, etc. So patience really comes into play here.
And when I want to say something about this patience thing. Now, the MNC, do not think for 1 minute that we're sitting here and we're pleased with the slowness of things that's happening within the MNC. We are not pleased with that. Things are not moving as quickly as they should. We feel like they've dropped the ball on several areas. We feel like there is some issues within the MNC, but we're waiting and we're hoping for the change, and we're going to see how much transparency, because it's great to get up on television and say, hey, you know, we go all about transparency. Well, where in the hell is the paperwork on the $30 million that was donated to the Veterans Fund? Where in the hell is the financials at? Talk is one thing, but show the paperwork. We've been patiently waiting. We've been the biggest supporter of the Métis National Council, the change that happened, the election, the new president, and we've been supportive of that. But please, you have to step it up. You can't sit there and plan vacations and become more of the same. Things have to be stepped up, and we're getting a little aggravated with it, to be quite honest with you, the slowness of it, because this, damn, the financials should have already been released at this point. But with that being said, we do think it's an improvement over what we had before with Chartier. So that's a positive.
Yeah, I mean, in my point before we go into today's show, the accountability and the transparency for the Métis Veterans Fund, the $30 million that was given by the feds, I mean, that should be top priority, not just having meetings after meetings. Where is the money? How much is left of the $30 million? Also, the second most important thing should be the 60 scoop. What's happening with that? So having meetings and meetings, that's all well and good. But where is the accountability, the transparency for all that money that was given for the Métis veterans? I haven't heard boo about the money, and that bothers me, because that's a huge $30 million is not lunch money. It's a huge amount of funds that should be accounted for, and we should be made aware of what's left of the fund, and who we still don't know who's managing it now.
There's a lot of shit we don't know, and it's irritating, because, you know, when people talk about transparency, where the hell is the transparency? Release the financials. proved the Métis people and the Métis Nation has had enough smoke blown up our ass by previous leadership, and we don't need that any longer. What we need is you to stop getting out there hollering about transparency, and we need you to actually show some transparency and release the damn paperwork. Yes, great. We got a young female in there leading the Métis National Council. That is great. But what we need is the actual leadership there. And we're waiting, and we're still waiting, and we're coming to the end of 2021, and we're damn waiting on the financials. When are you going to release it, MNC? When in the hell are you going to release it? And actually, all the people that you got in there that's still left over are still associated with MNC, that's still heavily supported of Chartrand, and they're causing problems within the Métis Nation. That's one issue. Does Chartrand have control over the Veterans Fund? Because we do know that it was still linked to him right after the election when we got the new MNC president.
He was still talking about the Métis Legacy Fund and having meetings, and there was still at one time information to go through the MMF head office. So I mean, hopefully that's been corrected, because that was still on the MNC page, and certainly all this top priority stuff should be looked after before you head to have a meeting with the Pope. I mean, that to me, I mean, you can wait till the Pope comes to Canadian soil. Financials.
Yeah, that's just a damn trip.
I mean,
vacation.
The paid trip to the Vatican to meet the Pope should not surpass the needs of transparency and accountability when we're dealing with $30 million. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But I
and
mean,
how many of their family members is going? See, and this is where it goes into where we're highly irritable and irritated and aggravated, because we don't want more of the same. We've already used to this with previous leadership, and unfortunately, if this new MNC president is being mentored by people who have been in power for 20 plus years in other organizations, then they're going to go down that same path of bullshit. And so we don't want that to happen. This new president needs to step up and actually show the actual transparency that she's been so good at speaking about. But we want to see the financials. The Métis Nation, the Métis people, we deserve to see the damn financials. When is it going to be released? And actually...
So today we're going to go into today's show, and before we go into today's show, I think you'll notice in this particular review document that POWLEY plays a huge role in part of this document.
And actually, before we get into this document, what I want to show you and let you listen to real quick is David Chartrand supporting POWLEY. So you're going to hear the audio right now from David Chartrand's mouth. You're going to hear him supporting POWLEY. And here we go. Take a listen.
I think the nation will always be thankful to your government. Your Métis government stood firm. And I heard Clem reference the lawyers and the great work they have achieved, and the POWLEY family for the sacrifice they have given. And clearly, Steve will go down history. There's no doubt in anybody's mind that his name will be referenced in history. But also, I want to personally thank the politicians that are behind me, because without them, it would not have happened. Without their vigor, their desire, and their attempt to make change, and the risk they were taking. Let's remember, this didn't happen very easily. It didn't come free. We were talking estimation, according to Tony, about $1 million. So a risk was taken by your government to move forward on something they felt so strong on, that they felt this is a chance and here's an opportunity, and we must move forward at all costs. So I think your board must be always respected for the in history. I hope will tell us that the board had great vision. But because in unification as a nation we take risk, we're still under attack. Even though we won POWLEY, we're still under attack. There's no doubt in my mind we'll still be under attack in the next 10 years. But I think we must stand together on moving forward.
Okay, so that's one thing. So POWLEY was important, as the report would say, for issuing out cards within the MMF, and it was important to POWLEY was important to definitely Chartrand and MMF when the time was appropriate, I guess, but at some point it became inappropriate. But go ahead.
So just a little bit of background on POWLEY and how the MMF was involved, and we had shown previously a document by the MMF, Know Your Rights, and it was questions and answers on Métis hunting rights. And what I find important is a statement or a message from the MMF President David Chartrand, where he references on September 19th, 2003, the Supreme Court made a historic decision that was the result of nearly 200 years of ongoing political, legal, military struggles. And he says in the POWLEY decision, the court recognized that we are distinct people with rights under Section 35 of the Canadian Constitution. So he says again, the POWLEY decision brings renewed energy to our struggle for recognition as partners in Confederation and founders of Western Canada. So in this publication, Know Your Rights, by the Manitoba Metis Federation, that was written by Al Benoit, it's important where he's praising POWLEY. And you also, you may not know, or you may know that Clem Chartier, Jean Tayette, and Jason Madden were the attorneys that were fighting in POWLEY. So Clem Chartier, Jean Tayette, and Jason Madden, and they were all praising, supporting POWLEY as Métis. They considered POWLEY Métis. So that's important.
And what's important about that to all you supporters of Chartrand out there, and let me go ahead and say this. The Métis Nation will not be where it is today if it would not have been for Clem Chartier and David Chartrand. Point blank, we understand that. We know that. Okay? You cannot say, oh, this person has done something wrong, and so we're going to say everything they've ever done in life is wrong. No, they've done good things for the Métis Nation. And so let's go ahead and get out there and say that why would POWLEY no longer be considered Métis, and when would this stop? Well, obviously, if you look at the numbers, which we're going to show you in the report, which refers to 25,000 cards being issued by the MMF, that's not a lot of cards holders right there within the MMF at the time of the report, right? But there was millions, multi-millions of dollars coming in. So when you have this POWLEY situation, and you have the potential to have to share the money with more people, you know, what the hell is really going on? Now, obviously, then POWLEY don't become Métis, it seems, right? So there's some huge questions there, and people should question the hypocrisy of it.
Well, to me, like I said, POWLEY is really a prime example where the MMF has shifted gears, changed their narrative to suit their needs, and it's all about power, control, and the money. And it's interesting to note as well that R versus Goudon in 2008, that Minister Will Goudon, in his own particular case, POWLEY was referenced. So you have 2003 where David Chartrand, Clem Chartier, Jean Tayette, Jason Madden are all supporting, saying that POWLEY is Métis. Will Goudon referenced in his own Manitoba case, using POWLEY as a point of reference. And it's also interesting that Dr. Frank Tuff or Towel gave evidence for the Crown in R versus Goudon, and now he's the best friend of, in October 2019, he was awarded the Order of the Métis Nation. So that was a flip-flop. So in Goudon's case, he gave evidence for the Crown, and then all of a sudden in 2019, he's awarded the Order of the Métis Nation. So that's prime examples on how the MMF has used POWLEY to their advantage and then discarded POWLEY when it no longer served their purpose, because Sault Ste. Marie, I mean, they would have to give more of their profits to somebody else. So that's a prime example of what happened to POWLEY, how POWLEY's been manipulated and used. And I think that's
used when it was appropriate and discarded when they felt like it was needed for them to discard POWLEY. And that's a damn shame, folks. And I don't care if you don't like us, you don't like us. Don't listen to our show. But you cannot dispute the facts that is out there. You've heard the audio of Chartrand supporting POWLEY. You've seen the screenshots of Chartrand and MMF supporting POWLEY. You just heard what Alexandria said about the whole support for POWLEY. Then all of a sudden, POWLEY was discarded. That should seem strange to a lot of people out there. It should seem very odd that that would happen. And if you're being led blindly because somebody may be promising you something, and don't get me wrong, man, we've taken a lot of time here to release this show because over the last few weeks we have been bullshitted, and we had smoke blew up our ass, and we've been working on multiple stories, and we just sat back and we had to decipher what the bullshit was as we were sitting there working on stories. And there was other stories that we were going to release, but we felt it very, very important that first we have to deal with home first, home being Manitoba and home being the Manitoba Metis Federation, before we tackle other issues and other problems out there. And there seems to be some issues as laid out in the report, and so there you go.
And today's show really is about this report. It is a 54-page report, and it is the Métis Identification Systems and Harvesters Registry Progress Review, and it's a Manitoba Metis Federation Federal Progress Report, and again conducted by BDO. And if people aren't familiar what BDO is, Binder Ditchker Oat, and it's an international network of public accounting, tax, consulting, and business and advisory firms. That's who BDO is. So,
and INAC wanted them to do this report. That's important to understand. And so, take a look at your screenshot. Read it. This is an official damn report, right? So this report had been given to us, and there you go. So now let's show you what the shocking information is that is in this report.
And keep in mind, as we discuss this review in the show, is that the MMF has used in the past non-Indigenous, non-Métis individuals to attack, in particular, the MNO. So they're using non-Indigenous, non-Métis people to conduct reports. And I really think that's not valid. And some of the terms throughout this report, quickly, in case you're not in the know: CRO is the Central Registry Office, CSA is the Canadian Standards Association, and DIAND is the Department of Indigenous Affairs and Northern Department, and of course INAC is Indigenous and Northern Affairs Canada, folks.
And this may be the first time a lot of you have seen this report, but this report is very important because this report shows the problems within the Manitoba Metis Federation as far as citizenship and as far as cards being issued. So go ahead.
And this should shock you. We all know that the MMF is always quick to attack others about their registry. I've been saying for years and years there's been no access to the MMF registry by the public, etc. And here's some bullet points, but we're going to go into more detail. And the first bullet point, and this will shock you, there's no INAC screening and no agreement to check if the card holders are on another or on an Indian registry. That should be shocking in itself. We've heard rumors for years.
We've heard rumors that many people on dual registries, we've heard, that they are on the Indian registry.
And they're also MMF members to boost numbers.
Yeah, we've heard those accusations, and now we're seeing that there's no way, that they had no way of verifying that during the time of this report.
And also, again, throughout this review, POWLEY is mentioned over and over again, and POWLEY criteria in the registry and the MMF Constitution, which was now changed or removed. So I'll go into that in more detail in regards to how POWLEY was referenced. And missing were signed declarations that the card holders are not on another Indigenous registry. So
that's missing from the file. The declaration. I wanna put that in perspective for people. So they're saying there's supposed to be a declaration where the people are saying, hey, we're not on another registry. But when they pulled sample files, what I'm saying is they took out of the 25,000 files, I think, because the number that they gave for the card holders in the report was 25,000. Only 25,000 cards as of June 2017. So they took a certain amount of numbers of files out of there and they went through them and they found that so what's missing from the file is the person's declaration that they're not on another registry. That is an important red flag because they're saying there's supposed to be this declaration, but they're also saying these declarations were missing from the files that they actually were going through.
And also incomplete files and improper documentation as well. And then another aspect was lack of policies and procedures and the ability for staff to edit their own files or those of family members. Lack of policies and procedures and the ability for the staff to edit their own files or those of their family members. So again, you'll see that INAC decided to perform this progress review to assess the extent to which Métis Nation registries and verification procedures now reflect Canadian Standards Association. And again, INAC selected BDO as their third-party evaluators to conduct the progress review. And that's really interesting. And what kind of comes to mind for me is that INAC conducted the MMF review, but it's curious how the MMF in the past and up until recently used non-Indigenous, non-Métis people to prepare reports targeting most recently the MNO. So that's
the BDO conducted the review, right? The report by the order of INAC.
That's correct.
Okay.
And again, throughout this report, if you go to page, I'm going to make references because you'll be able to see it throughout the show. On page 6 of this report, part of the Government of Canada's response to the Supreme Court of Canada 2003 R versus POWLEY decision has provided project-based funding to assist Indigenous organizations and Métis governing members with substantial Métis citizenship to identify Métis harvesters and members on a priority basis based on criteria for Métis as set out in POWLEY decision. So what that is saying is that the federal government gave Métis organizations funding to, project-based funding based on the POWLEY decision.
Yeah, and that's very important because now all of a sudden POWLEY's not Métis, right? POWLEY's not Métis, and then you got all these damn parrots out there. POWLEY's not Métis, POWLEY's not Métis. And so it's like, good God, man. It's a bad echoing effect, man. If POWLEY was Métis from the damn get-go, how and when in the hell did he become not Métis? Please tell me that. If somebody could just elaborate that point to me. How in the hell did POWLEY become not Métis? When did he become not Métis? Can anybody out there tell me that? Any of you keyboard damn warriors out there, do you want to answer that shit? When did he become not Métis? Go ahead.
So this again is another prime example of the MMF changing gears, changing narrative to suit their needs. And again, throughout this review, BDO did random sampling, and BDO again validate that the criteria established in 2003 R versus POWLEY are used as a part of the registration process, and that's on page 10 of this review.
As of 2017, POWLEY's been used as a part of the registration process for the Manitoba Metis Federation. That's what you call boom yow in your damn face. Can you not read that? Can you not read it? Can you not read it? All you disbelievers out there, read your screen. That right there is part of the registration process. I'm aggravated because I don't understand how people can be so blinded by the truth. I mean, it's kind of like you're talking to brick walls for some of these people out here. Like the truth cannot absorb into them. And I'm highly aggravated with the people that just can't get it, man.
Well, these people, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you say it's something in front of their face is black, they're going to say it's white all day long.
Yeah.
They're lost souls, lost sheep, maybe promised something.
They got to be promised something.
Because as this review states, as of June 2017, there were just over 25,000 citizenship cards for the MMF, and just over 10,500 harvester cards had been issued at that point. And again,
now read those numbers again, because we know that there's at least 5 people out there that just can't get it. So read it again.
On this official review, as of June 2017, just over 25,000 citizenship cards for the MMF and just over 10,500 harvester cards had been issued by the MMF.
Okay, now let's break that down. 25 in 2017, the number that we had was 25,000 citizen cards issued. Break that down by all the multi-millions of dollars that the MMF has received. Where in the hell is all that money going? And you know what? They know that we know. They know that they've sit there and they've signed people to confidentiality agreements, but they know that we know. They know that we know. So that's kind of a what you call it, a rhetorical question. Where did all the damn money go? Release the financials, Chartrand. Release them.
And some very important observations and analysis of this BDO review, and this may shock you. Until spring 2009, decisions on citizenships were effectively in the control of the MMF regions. And
if Chartrand has done nothing wrong by that's what he wants people to think. He's done nothing wrong. Take it back to 2017 and release detailed financials that are accurate. Release the damn financials. That's all I'm saying. That shouldn't you, if you hold an MMF card, shouldn't you deserve to know where if there was only, think about it like this. I know you want to move forward here, but I'm still stuck on a number of 25,000 citizens in Manitoba as of 2017 and all the money that they got. Where in the hell is this money went to, man? But please, just go ahead.
And again, another observation or analysis is the POWLEY decision is readily apparent in the MMF citizenship application process. And as a first stage, the formal POWLEY definition is contained in Article 3, membership of the MMF Constitution, and we are to assume that that MMF Constitution has not changed. But the review...
Yeah, has anything changed? We know the report was as of 2017. That's when the report has been. And so obviously they've probably gotten a few more citizenship cards issued out between now and then. But, you know, yeah, what has changed? What has changed? Release the information on what has changed compared to this report. Have you followed any of the recommendations? But go ahead.
Well, 2017 till now has not been a very long time.
No, it has not been a very long time.
We're 2021, that hasn't been a long time.
No.
And another key factor in this particular review is the MMF their ability to confirm an applicant is not on any other Indigenous register. Listen to this. The MMF, and this is taken from page 20 of their review, so I'm not making this up. The MMF has decided to move forward with its citizenship confirmation process despite lacking confirmation from INAC that the applicant is not on any other registry. So the MMF has decided to go out on their own and not wait for INAC to confirm that the citizenship applicant is not on any other registry. They've gone out on their own. They've decided they're going to do it themselves. So that in itself, that's scary, that they don't want to verify it, so they don't know, and there's no self-declaration that somebody's going to say, no, I'm not on another registry. So I mean, that's scary in itself.
Yeah, there's a lot of things here, and we know that they've been hollering about the M&O this, the M&O that, about, and and don't think that what we're saying is a support of M&O registry, because we have not detailed looked at that yet. But what I'm saying is, if you have somebody really standing out there hollering about other organizations and they're not verifying who is Métis, well, good God, how in the hell have you got 25,000 cards issued out to citizens, and how many of those were actually confirmed? I think the report said 10,000 confirmed out of 25,000.
Yeah.
So that means there's 15,000 people as of 2017 that was non-confirmed that held citizenship cards. What in the hell is that? That's over a half your citizens, and that's in this report here. I mean, if anybody wants to clarify shit, please go ahead, put it in the comments, put it out there, and comment on it. Yeah, but you can't dispute what the report says. The report says what the report says.
And another scary fact of this particular review, and they made note of that, as of June 2017, there appeared to have been 3 major versions of the application process that was made noted. And again, it's made noted that unclear whether regional offices have supplementary security features, and they mean passcode, alarm, and camera, or even fire suppression. And most, but not all, harvester information resides in the physical file, and that was in 2017. So they were in a physical file, not a digital file. And there apparently there is no formal policy regarding document management to support the MMF regions. These are observations and analysis from this particular review. And it said harvester cards were first created in 2004 through, and it's interesting, funding received by the Manitoba government. And Falcon is the custom citizenship registry application system that it was being used. And it's interesting that the registrar does not have an electronic record retention policy, and physical files remain in a fireproof cabinet in their region. So they're not digitalized at that particular time, and that's what the findings were. But one of the key things that they mention in this review is staffing is currently an issue. Problems with workload, authorizations, etc. And the current budget for Central Registry Office was $1.3 million based on funding from INAC, and that was during the date of this report. And the thing that I'm going to go into now, and you'll see graphs, etc. throughout this show, and I dissected all these charts and graphs, and I'll quickly
again, folks, this is what you're looking at with your own eyes, and I mean, you're seeing it. This is the report. You cannot sit there and dispute the damn report. How can you dispute what you're seeing with your own eyes? This is not just us just saying something. This is just like we always do. We always provide proof. We always provide evidence. This is the proof that there's some issues there.
And again, this is what BDO found, and I'm going to give the table numbers, and this is table number 5.2.2b, and is distinct from other Indigenous registries or peoples, and they say does not conform. These are the huge problems that BDO found. So
yeah, it doesn't
does not conform.
Right.
And another one is 5.2.2e on that particular table has provided a signed declaration that the applicant is not on other Indigenous registry. BDO found does not conform. And again,
and let me just explain. Do the people out there understand? Do you please tell me? Do you understand what does not conform mean? Because you're seeing it, and it's saying that they do not conform. And I'm speaking to the 5 individuals that no matter what you show them, they just well, it doesn't matter. They just don't believe nothing because maybe they're paid off. I don't know. It's the speculation there. It's my opinion that they have some motivation to actually get out there and put bullshit and lies all over social media, which is what they're good at doing. And also, please go ahead with the sections of they do not conform.
These are official tables provided by BDO, and table 4.1G, applicants shall be informed of the privacy policies and procedures that apply to the collection and use of personal information by the MMF Registry. A big does not conform. Big red there, does not conform. And table 5.3C, proof of distinction from other Indigenous people, another red, does not conform. 5.3F table, current passport quality photo, does not conform.
So to say that there's problems with the Manitoba Metis Federation Citizenship
Registry,
registry with their registry is an understatement. There's some severe issues with the MMF Registry. Go ahead.
And again, table number 5.3G, government issue ID. When you provide government issued ID in your application process, they say partially conforms, so not fully conform. And again,
read that one again.
5.3G, government issued ID, they partially conform.
Right, because I'll tell you why it says partially conform there, because they found files where people were given issued cards, citizenship cards, and in those files there was no proof of identity, no government issued identity. There was
no certified
identity. And so, yeah, registry problems within MMF. Yeah, go ahead.
This is a huge one for me, and this is table 5.5A, 5.5B, 5.5C, 5.5D, 5.5E, 5.5F, and 5.5G, Registry Code of Ethics Policy. So they're saying, does the MMF have a Registry Code of Ethics Policy? Wait for it, folks. Does not conform.
Oh, do they have a policy for ethics? Does not conform. Wow.
I just take a moment to try and digest all that.
Well, we know damn well it's not ethical. It's very unethical when you're sitting there in what appears to be misappropriation of millions of dollars. But you know what? They couldn't just get away with this by themselves. They would need help from politicians within the Canadian government to actually get away with this. And people have been turning their head, and to all these issues. And that goes down to certain politicians and certain offices that are allowing this to happen. And that's something that we should look more into. But go ahead.
And table 5.2.5, document management control policy and procedure for registry. You want to wait for it, folks? Does not conform. Huge problems with the Manitoba Metis Federation Registry, folks, at that particular time.
2017. Guarantee you, if at that time out of 25,000 citizens, if at that time in the report it says 10,000 are confirmed. That's what the report says. That means there was 15,000 unconfirmed citizens. They say 10,000 are confirmed. 15,000 would mean that it was not confirmed. So that, yeah, there was problems within the registry, and it was not that long ago. So I'm guaranteeing you there's still problems with the registry today. And if you talk about more than half of their citizens are not confirmed, good God, who the hell are they to talk about any other organization's registry?
And we're going to go to table 5.2.4C, and this is consistency of results when processing citizenship applicants. Wait for it. Does not conform. The right answer is does not conform. So right. Consistency, 5.2.4D, provision of objective evidence supporting decisions. Again, a big does not conform. And here's another one, 5.9.1 table. Registry shall sign service agreements with any contractor working on its behalf. You want to wait for it, folks?
Does not conform.
The correct answer is does not conform. So that's another. They have no service agreements with any outside contractors working on its behalf. And this one is really, really huge. Again, for me, there's so many huge ones. But table 5.10C, 5.10C1, and 5.10C11. Registry shall have in place a policy and procedure for file archiving and the protection of records from inappropriate access, alteration, and usage. So this is a protection of your citizenship records from inappropriate access. What do you think is what's the correct answer for that?
Yeah, does not conform.
Does not conform. That's a scary thing, that they don't conform to inappropriate access to records. That's your personal information.
That could be security concerns, security breaches, your personal information. Obviously, it would indicate there, it appears that is very sensitive to being seen by people who shouldn't be seeing it, or something happening to your personal information that should not be happening to your personal information. And so that does not conform to protecting your personal information within the Manitoba Metis Federation. When you look at their whole registry, clearly the whole registry process for the MMF does not conform. And I mean, we see that over and over again, and this is the actual report. This report was done in 2017. I mean, damn. It's point blank what it is. And actually, I think the report was finalized in November of 2017.
Yes, November 2017.
So yes. We're not talking about that long ago, folks. So yeah.
And to me, really, this Manitoba Metis Federation Federal Progress Report is a real eye-opener. We know that the MMF is attacking other Métis organizations in regards to registry, citizenship, and to have this 54-page report has been an eye-opening experience. Again, some of the key findings is INAC screening. That is huge. INAC screening, making sure that the citizenship applicant is not on the Indian registry, or is and it's not complete at the granting of MMF citizenship. That is huge. Lack of registry policies and procedures. There's a lack of code of conduct and conflict of interest policies. A lack of personal information protection policy. A lack of formal records management policy in place. A lack of electronic resources for the harvester registry. There is a lack of electronic file access access controls. There's a lack of effective backup and recovery of harvester documentation, missing documentation in the files as per the samples drawn. Files do not meet standard passport quality photos.
That's another one. The photos suck. How many millions of dollars do you have? You can't get somebody that can take a damn good picture in the MMF? I mean, what's going on? Or who is taking these pictures? What's going on? Why is there not a proper
passport quality photo?
Yeah.
How hard is that? And also, in a lot of the files, there was no copies of government-issued ID. That's a big red flag. There is no signed proof that the citizens were made aware of privacy concerns. And a lot of times, this is a big one too, final registrar signature approving the citizenship was not in the file.
Okay, so
that's
folks,
not in the file.
That's probably the hugest one right there. So you're missing a registrar's signature in the file approving the citizenship. Do you not understand what that means? There is huge issues with the registry at the Manitoba Metis Federation, without a doubt. There's huge issues there.
And again, third-party service provider was utilized in the production of the registry's citizenship and harvester cards, and we found out through this review that there were not formal contracts or formal paperwork signed with the third-party service agreements. And again, the relationship with the third party is not governed by a formal contract as required by CSA standard 5.9.1. So, good God, you know what? This 54-page review report has been an eye-opening experience. Again, November 2017 has not been decades ago, has not been a long time ago. We know that the MMF has been attacking other Métis organizations, their registry, and here you look at this BDO review that was initiated by INAC. It took us a long time to really grasp the enormity of what this review report revealed, and it's shocking and it's stunning, all the does not comply, does not comply, does not comply. So what I get from this review, this report, that as of 2017 the MMF charged ahead and did not verify with INAC if people applying for citizenship with the MMF were not on other Indian registry. They just charged ahead, and that's why for many, many years there's been alleged rumors that a lot of MMF citizens were on Indian bans, were on INAC registry. So you're trying to have, so that's people that are not truly Métis, having MMF citizenship.
Well,
wow.
The report says that out of the 25,000 citizens with cards issued, that only 10,000 has been confirmed. That is a problem. That is a huge problem with the registry. When you talk about 15,000 people as of June of 2017. We know the report was finished in November 2017, but they based it on June of 2017. 15,000 people not confirmed citizens, but hold cards. That's what the report's saying. If anybody wants to dispute it or say otherwise, please do. Go ahead and enlighten us on what we may be missing here. Please feel free to definitely comment and show something that we possibly could be overlooking or missing, because the report clearly states that the MMF Registry, Manitoba Metis Federation Registry, does not conform. That's point blank.
And like I said, it's been an eye-opening experience where, again, how dare the MMF attack other Métis organizations when they've got so many skeletons in their closet of their own registry. And this again was a report initiated by INAC, by BDO, and here you see clear as day in this particular report review how POWLEY is made reference to. And then you know, everybody was celebrating POWLEY, Chartrand, Chartier, Jean Tayet, Jason Madden. Another minister was using POWLEY in his own court case. And then all of a sudden, after 2017, we came out in 2018, the blue blob map, and full-on attack to people in the east and people in Sault Ste. Marie, which is POWLEY is from, attacking that they were not Métis. You can see the timeline from the report here, review 2017, 2018, attacking, and then all of a sudden, I'd like to know when Article 3 of the MMF Constitution has been altered, because POWLEY definition was contained at that particular time when the review was done in 2017. Has it been altered? Has it been changed? And when was it changed? That's another thing. We're using POWLEY to their own advantage and then discarding POWLEY when you've got to divvy up shares of federal funding. Power, greed, control, folks.
Yeah, so that's it for this show. Y'all have a good, happy holidays.
Take care. Happy holidays.